Jose.
As usual, we will start with the factual information that we know, which was documented by Jess and Jamie's social media, as well as another woman named Melanie Dam, a friend of Jess, then move on to theories and speculation. In late November of 2023, a few days after Jamie's actual birthday, pictures went up on Jess's Instagram account of a party being thrown for Jamie, a belated birthday party. The vast majority of what was saved was via stories at the time. This would include from Jamie's account, Melanie's account, and a video from a third account. Various friends and family of Jamie attended, and it also appeared that they had one of the private party rooms in the restaurant to host this party. The trouble comes in with the fact that Jamie is a sober person, has been open about his sobriety, and yet he ends up at a place that serves far more alcoholic beverages than food. The location was Bob Ricard in London. It is easy to look up their menu, wine list, and everything else you could want to know, including the price of the venue if you were to rent a private party room. Here you can see what the price is for a private service dinner, which is what they more than certainly had, given the time of night they had the party. Minimum spend is £1,500, plus a service charge at dinner. Now, let's go back to the menu I mentioned. With more alcoholic beverages than food. This means that the intent is to get people to spend more on booze than the food offered, because it would be relatively hard to rack up that much on the food that they serve. And though I will mention they did have the option for non-alcoholic beverages, there were around a total of 8 options out of the dozens of other options that were not alcohol-free. For someone like Jamie, who openly speaks about his trouble with sobriety, this is an extremely odd place for him to end up for his birthday. And many experts will tell you that you do not take a sober person to a bar, especially not someone who still is struggling with recovery. So let's now move on to the speculation, theory, and opinions about this event. These are not proven facts. This is merely commentary provided by the creator of this video. Understand that. Good. Shortly before this belated birthday happened, Jamie was asked at a convention he was attending what he intended to do for his birthday, and he said spend it with his family, which he more than likely did, on the actual date, seeing as how this party was a few days later. Which brings up the question, was Jess even supposed to be there, and was she the one who arranged this party? Plenty of the photos taken make it look like Jess and her friend are happier about this than Jamie or anyone else in attendance. And based on this, in my opinion, if you didn't know any better, it looks more like it was a party for Jess than for Jamie. You can see in some of the other photos the rather unamused expressions that some of the people there had. Even Jamie himself looks a bit stressed out, exhausted, or not in the celebration state of mind for the party. He seems pretty done with this by the time the cake was presented to him, and his actions, in my opinion, seem to be very performative. So Jess can capture him for her social media, which is backed up by some evidence. The video you are currently watching was the one taken by Jess of Jamie, which she posted in her stories on that same night. His low energy, less than enthusiastic reaction say it all, if you ask me. But let's look at it from another point of view. Across the table, someone else was filming what Jess was doing. Keep an eye on her and her friend Melanie behind her. Neither seem very concerned with singing happy birthday to him, or paying much attention at all. That is until Jess can get her photo opportunity for Instagram. And here we switch back to see what Jess posted and filmed that night for her stories. But seeing it from the opposite end of the table paints a different picture, doesn't it? I don't think it's unreasonable to question if Jess was supposed to be there, or even wanted there, if she was also there late. I also think that since Jamie already said he had plans for his actual birthday and she wasn't there, it was for a reason, and no, it wasn't because she was working. Please note that it is an actual fact that in 2023 Jess's business was insolvent, she was in major debt, which at least circumstantially proves that work was not a top priority for her to be on top of. In my opinion, she was much more concerned with how much attention she could get using Jamie on her Instagram account to farm engagement. So now we move into more speculative questions about this situation. Was Jess the one who threw this party for him? If so, where did she get the money? As previously mentioned, it was a minimum charge of £1,500 for the service. Did she get everyone else to chip in for this? Why would they? Especially his friends and family who surely know about his sobriety? It's hard to believe she paid for it entirely herself due to the fact that we know her business in 2023 was having major financial issues. Did she get her friend to loan her the money? What did they spend it all on? Since, as mentioned, that charge is clearly mandatory for booze, not food. Did she tell everyone she was planning a surprise party for Jamie, but not where it was, and ask them to chip in to help pay for it? That's possible. But why did no one say anything when they found out what the venue was? And why would Jess choose this specific venue? None of this makes sense given the fact that earlier that same month Jamie had posted this in his stories, feeling like he was not supported in his sobriety, or at least, that is the implication in my opinion, and several other people's as well. So what exactly in Jess's mind told her that this would be okay to do? Is this the sign of a supportive girlfriend? Really? Or is it something much more toxic? Now, let's say that despite the overwhelming evidence, it was not Jess's idea to take him to this bar. You know, even though it looks like the only two people genuinely partying here are her and her friend. And it even appears that Jamie left before he could have the cake that was being served. If it wasn't her, or her idea, surely she was informed of this idea before it happened. Why not suggest somewhere else? Why not mention Jamie is sober and this could be triggering? Why not tell everyone to take him some other place? And why, once again, was she not there for his actual birthday which he said he was spending alone with family? Beyond all of this, there is one final photo from that night that I would like to address. That raises a lot of concerns. Take a look at this photo. Look at Jamie's expression. Some would interpret it as intoxication. Others, at very least, unwell. Definitely not happy, of course. Then you have to take a look at the glass he is holding and what is in it. It appears to be the same type of drink that is in this glass, which is more than likely the glass that belongs to Jess, considering the proximity of it to her. Jess is not sober and has been known to drink in the past, specifically rosé. She would have no reason to be drinking non-alcoholic rosé because she wouldn't consider herself to be an alcoholic. Though the menu I mentioned for the restaurant does offer non-alcoholic rosé, if you take into the account the look on Jamie's face, compared to Jess and Melanie's expression, I believe that it isn't unreasonable to question if something happened here and Jamie ended up with real alcohol instead of the fake. As to how that may have happened, I suppose I couldn't say. However, I would not be the only one to speculate that Jess heavily aided in enabling Jamie to start drinking again. And yes, this is only an opinion, but it did seem to be something that even continued into his current relationship with Elena Tabor when yet another suspicious video of him drinking an unknown liquid from a wine glass surfaced. I want to make it very clear that in both the photo with Jess and the video taken by Elena Tabor, there is no possible way to know what he was drinking, as both venues offer non-alcoholic options as well. However, the implications are there. And if the enabling of the sobriety slip did start with Jess, it would explain the possible wine drinking continuing on with Elena, especially since Jamie did not acknowledge his sober anniversary this year like he has every other year. In the end, there are more questions than answers with this, and trying to ask Jess politely will only get you blocked from her social media. However, I do think that with the photos and videos there's at least the implications here that something wasn't right, and the cause of it was Jess, not Jamie.